Welcome to episode 39 of Motivating Mondays, a weekly podcast and YouTube series dedicated to help Canadian job developers and other employer engagement professionals develop the tools, resources, expertise, and network to excel in achieving sustainable employment outcomes for their clients or students. My name is Christian St. Cyr, National Director of the Canadian Job Development Network, and today we're going to talk about generative AI. Is it a threat to your job? And if it is, what can you do about it? Humanity is critical to job development, but the most successful professionals will be those who embrace both humanity and the new tools that AI is providing. Over the holidays, I got into a number of conversations with people about the role of AI or artificial intelligence or generative AI, particularly as it relates to work and the replacement of workers. Because apparently, when people meet me, this is what they want to talk about. And while I think we can all have a good conversation about what might be, I left these conversations thinking that whatever becomes of AI, it's going to be completely different than what we might expect. So what do we know? Well, we know that AI will replace some jobs, make some more efficient, and will supercharge others. For instance, the majority of jobs for transactional customer service and other types of order takers will be and are being eliminated by AI. Meanwhile, jobs in things like graphic design or communications or presenting analysis will be made far more efficient by AI. Jobs in AI architecture or business management and those in leadership will be supercharged by AI, creating whole new occupations and providing exponentially higher salaries and productivity improvements for senior leaders. We don't know how this is all going to occur, but I can assure you the least skilled, least interpersonal jobs will experience the greatest exponential threat. This is why it is so important for us to prepare people for this transition, for this whole new world. One of the conversations I had in the past week was about bookkeepers. Perhaps less so than payroll administrators or accounting clerks who possess a less specialized knowledge base, bookkeeping is going to take a hit as this specialized skill set gets baked into the back-end processes through the increased use of AI. And when I noted to this person, they said, yes, but most accountants I know are not only really well paid, but they're in high demand. To which I replied, yes, accountants, but not necessarily bookkeepers. They are very different occupations. So the question remains, how is AI a threat to our jobs, and what can we do about it? If all the work that we do is to be order takers, to share resumes and prepare wage subsidy agreements, then we are the bookkeepers of the career development sector. We are providing a pretty straightforward function that will be increasingly performed by AI. It's already being done through websites and apps and similar tools. What makes us the accountants of the career development world? Well, accountants understand accounting, but it's really only a small part of their job. They need to consider their accounting knowledge through the lens of similar clients with comparable situations, the experience of government filings, and the day-to-day reality of regulatory frameworks. Then they need to be able to take this accumulated knowledge and information and make it accessible for people who aren't accountants. And while this experience coupled with their knowledge is critical, the human skills of empathy and persuasion and creativity and collaboration and problem solving and interpersonal skills, confidence, and really dozens of other qualities will give their customers and their colleagues the confidence that not only do they know what they're talking about, but that they're providing informed answers. Accountants will certainly be using AI to provide this assistance, but customers will need to be able to turn to knowledgeable human beings when things really count. And this will be as much for accountants as it will be for doctors or lawyers or marketing specialists or human resources professionals. So how do we become the accountants of the career development sector? Frankly, it's going to be through the day-to-day gathering of labor market information that will help us better understand employers or to better inform them about the changing labor market. When we come better when we come across better tools, we should be sharing them with employers. When we discover new data about how the job market is changing, this should be supporting our conversations with employers. As we identify local trends about sectors or the labor force, we should be using this information to help employers do a better job of recruiting. And even as I share these ideas, this is only the information and experience components of job development. To excel as a professional, we need to be focused on utilizing interpersonal skills such as persuasion in the form of developing the best strategies for convincing employers about the value of hiring our clients or students. We might want to use a skill like creativity. When an employer tells us about their challenges through the discovery process, it would be best for us to be able to suggest clients or staffing options that might address those challenges. A skill such as collaboration might be helpful in getting different stakeholders to work together on a project such as a job fair or a labor market report or an employer panel discussion. In professional roles, there's a lot of humanity that is not suited to AI, and we take it for granted in our day-to-day lives. We don't realize how much of that humanity is interspersed in all of our conversations with people. It's for this reason that 100% of management jobs have a low chance of automation over the next 10 years, and 97% of jobs requiring a university degree will experience a low chance of automation over the same time period. This is according to a study done by the Office of National Statistics in Great Britain. For comparison, among jobs requiring instruction or apprenticeship of more than 2 years, only 53% of jobs have a low chance of automation, and only 45% of jobs requiring less than 2 years of education have a low chance of automation. For jobs that require just high school, only 18% of jobs have a low chance of automation. And for jobs where even high school isn't required, just 1% of jobs have a low chance of automation. Jobs requiring higher levels of education employ more interpersonal skills and innately human qualities, and therefore will be less subject to automation than other forms of generative AI and other forms of generative AI. So what are those innately human skills that are most critical to the work that we do in career development? Well, according to the ONET database, the following is a list of skills and competencies which are critical to jobs in NOC code grouping 4, that is, occupations in education, law, social, community, and government services, of which career development is one, as well as the percentage of those jobs that will require these competencies. So what is the number one competency required in our broader group of occupations? Active listening. 100% of jobs in this broad category require active listening. Number 2, speaking. 92% of jobs require skills in speaking. Critical thinking, 89%. Reading comprehension, 89%. Social perceptiveness, 4 out of 5 jobs, 81% of jobs in our sector require social perceptiveness. Writing, 77%. Service orientation, 65%. Judgment and decision making, 61%. Monitoring, 59%. And complex problem solving, 59%. Now, it is clear that AI is going to be instrumental in supporting many of these competencies and skills, but it is the combination of them, how they interact with each other, that will have employers and job seekers and funders turning to human beings to provide these services. Take, for instance, social perceptiveness, which 4 out of 5 jobs require. If you took a group of professionals, maybe even a group of your colleagues, some people are going to be better at this than others, but how much does this skill improve with repeated experience? When you meet an employer for the first time, how many conscious and unconscious cues are informing you about what to say and how to say it and how to reply? This is a delicate balance based on hundreds, if not thousands, of interactions over the course of your career. This is an area where AI does not excel and will not be able to replicate what a person can do over time. Now, don't get me wrong. AI can develop a good sales pitch. It can even tailor it to sound like you and incorporate suggestions for making it better. But it's not going to it's not going to choose to change what it says from a subtle eyebrow raise or a disinterested response from an employer who's half turned away. AI would also have a tough time discerning when the words an employer is using suggest that they're interested, while their tone and gestures and distraction suggest that they aren't the least bit interested. Employers have been able to turn to apps and online tools for nearly 20 years now to find the workers that they need. They can also go online to apply for wage subsidy and other financial supports. The very fact that we have human beings like you doing these job development supports here in the year 2026 is not to market these supports, but to sell them. Employers need to be convinced. Clients need to be advocated for. And when things go sideways, someone needs to go in and smooth things over. This is a job for a human being, not for AI. Now, in March, I'm going to be doing my annual Labor Market 101 workshops, which are great for people who are new to the sector or those who just want to sharpen their labor market skills. These are intended to provide guidance on how career professionals should use labor market information to excel in their jobs. And we have a separate module for each career development role, including one for job developers that's taking place on Thursday, March 5th. Now, we are in the middle of 5 weeks of articles in Labor Market Online, BC Labor Market Report or Ontario Labor Market Report, where we are talking about the specific labor market information skills professionals need. And this Wednesday, January 7th, we'll actually be looking specifically at what job developers need to do. And if you're a member of Labor Market Online, I'd suggest you to check out this week's newsletter. For today, I want to focus on how to make labor market information meaningful in your work, not to focus on how to make labor market information meaningful in your work, but how to make it meaningful for local employers. Labor market information is what makes you a trusted professional. That's someone that local employers can turn to in the community for their recruitment and their retention needs. As you gather information about employer needs and the local trends and skilled workforce, I would encourage you to share this with employers. So how do you do this? Well, you might want to, for instance, prepare a monthly labor market insights newsletter that you share with all the employers that you're working with. You might want to organize a labor market committee for your local chamber of commerce or your board of trade that addresses this from the business perspective. You might want to distribute a monthly press release on the labor market to media outlets and community stakeholders. You could develop labor market tips that you distribute through social media. You could even prepare a labor market FAQ sheet that you share with each new employer that you meet. And finally, you could provide a brochure with the little understood benefits of inclusive hiring and how they are a great pathway to building a lasting workforce. Now, it might seem contrary to suggest that better tracking and integrating labor market information would be a pathway to AI resilience. Using AI to track LMI and share it is actually one of the best things that you can do. But at the end of the day, it's how we interpret and explain and build on this knowledge that will make us professionals employers want to work with. As I noted earlier, I'm thrilled to share that it's time for our annual Labor Market 101 training modules, which so many of you and your colleagues have already taken. But nevertheless, the career development sector has grown so much in the last year with a lot of turnover. This is an excellent opportunity to learn about important LMI divided up into 5 different occupations. So we have a separate training module for each occupation. We're doing resource room advisors on Monday, March 2nd, employment case managers or employment counselors on Tuesday, March 3rd, facilitators on Wednesday, March 4th, job developers on Thursday, March 5th, and managers or supervisory roles on Friday, March 6th. Now, up until next week, Wednesday, January 15th, everyone who registers is going to get the 35% discount on registration. We have 2 series planned, one for British Columbia and one for Ontario professionals. But if you want to learn more, for British Columbia, just go to labormarketonline.com/LMI 101. And for Ontario, go to ontariolabormarketonline.org/LMI 101. Thank you so much for joining us. please click the like or subscribe button in your platform. Search for Motivating Mondays wherever you download podcasts. We'd also love it if you could rate or review our podcast or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, we do these sessions live and for free every Monday morning on Microsoft Teams for job developers all across Canada, and it'd be so great if you could join us. If you want more information, just go to jobdevelopment.org to learn more. If you have any questions, just send me an email. My email address is cstsear@labormarketsolutions.ca. Thank you so much for your time. Have an amazing week and have an amazing 2026.